There we go. And we're live.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
I am good. Life is an adventure.
This is another exciting episode, or I guess disappointing episode.
Is that our tagline?
Yeah, that's mine. That's my tagline. I'm not wearing a hat. I just realized that. My hair's a mess.
It's okay.
But anyways, this is another exciting episode of Not a Burger TV.
Hi, welcome to Not a Burger.
That's Dave.
That's Robbi.
Hi.
We just got here. He just got here from kicking people's asses.
Yeah.
And I just flew in the door like a minute ago.
Yeah, exactly. Late.
Well,
now it's back to the usual Dave.
Have you ever been so early that you make yourself late?
I mean,
I was ready to come over at like 7. I was in my car on the road and I was like, I've got time to go home for a little bit. It's the same story at work. It's like, oh, I'm here so early. I could eat something. I could take a power nap. And then you wake up and you're 10 minutes late. And
you took a nap? That's what I figured.
No, I didn't take a nap this time. But it's just a story time example.
Fletch, 9 minutes late, and I'm already disappointed. Trust me.
So
I was the same. I was waiting here for him. He texted me while I was training because I needed him to buy an HDMI cable. Let's not even go into that. Well, we will. I told him we need an HDMI extender. Yeah. He comes in. He's like, "Here you go, Robbi, 6 feet." I'm like, "Cool." So he gives it to me. I unwrap it. I open it up. It's USB. It's a USB extender.
Here's the worst thing. I know what HDMI looks like. I know what DVI looks like. I know what all these fucking connectors look like.
And you got me a USB.
It's connected to me being late. Where I was just like, yeah, give me the thing. I gotta go.
Yeah, but exactly. But we made it work. We have a new camera set up, so hopefully this thing Hopefully this works out.
Not gonna overheat.
We look a little bit more different than last time. But yeah, no. Then I get everything set up, and I'm waiting here. My watch beeps at the hour, every hour on the hour. Uh-huh. It beeped at 9 o'clock. I'm like, where the hell's Dave?
Well, I also texted you like an hour and a half ago, like, hey, should I be early? Like,
yeah.
I can come early if you need me to bring stuff, set up stuff. Like I said, I was so early that I made myself late. I went home. I got a new game on Steam, and I was like, I'm just gonna fire it up for a minute. And no.
You went home after you bought the cables and stuff like that?
I had all this stuff in my car, new headphones, new cables, stuff to set up, and new pop filter, which I didn't end up needing because some people told us last time that I was a bit poppy.
Yeah, anyway, so, yeah, how was your week?
Hi, it's nice that we just, like, both fly in right before we start, because it's like, how you guys doing? How are you doing? I haven't seen you literally until just now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good. Life is an adventure, like I said. The game I got is called Avorion. It's pretty cool. It's like Minecraft in space. So, I'm going to get really deep into that.
Can't do that stuff anymore.
It's all good. You can't devote 16 hours a day to building
last time I did that was like Terraria, and that was just...
I love Terraria.
I just went way too hard into that.
I have like probably 300 hours on Terraria.
Yeah.
I'm playing it right now, actually, again, because they're just about to do their last patch, and then they're done forever. So I want to see what the new features are.
No, with WoW Classic coming out on the 20th, I believe.
The girl who sold me the extension cable had a Horde necklace on.
Yeah?
True story.
What's her name? Kate. Earmuffs.
But yeah.
So I texted Dave because there's I texted Dave earlier this week about the topic that I want to talk about. Because it's something that
I feel you probably have strong feelings on this, stronger than me, but I do have my own stories to contribute.
Yeah. Well, it's just So the topic is pet peeves, because I have pretty much one pet peeve. There's there's things that annoy me here and there, but I have one pet peeve. And that is, and it's something that you do.
Really?
Something that Kate does, something that my mom does, something that my dad does. And it just...
The fact that you opened with me made me feel bad that we were going to talk about how awful I am for like
half an hour.
That's another
episode. We could do 3 hours of just how awful you are. Sure. And then you could do another 3 hours for me.
Wasn't that what the second episode was? It was just confessions of how awful we are.
Exactly. So my biggest pet peeve, and it's like I said, it's just this one thing. Because, there are things that annoy me and I'm just like, whatever. I just have to let it go. But one word text messages.
Oh, so do they feel like short?
Well, I guess I have two, but they kind of relate to text messaging altogether. One word text message.
I sent you one letter text message.
Exactly. well, yeah. One word text message, one letter text messages. Exactly. Those kind of fall together.
Why?
And then the text messages that are just in rapid succession, just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's like train of thought. It's like, hey, do you want this? Or maybe you want this thing. Or maybe you want this other thing.
So it's like, to me, like, I spent out all this time typing the message, and like sometimes, Kate, I'll text Kate, and I was like, hey, you know what, this just happened, and she's like, yay. Like, fuck off.
Sarcastic too, like
exactly.
Big whoop.
And I think it's just because obviously there's no inflection, there's no emotion behind a text message, but then I just get yay.
It's also very situational to like what the other person is doing.
Or the
if
one
you're at work, you can't just be like, let me give you a long response.
What was the one that you sent me this week? And it was,
I know I sent you a KK.
Oh no. Yeah. So Monday I texted you about. I told him, like, oh, I have cables coming in. I have stuff coming in that I think I'll be able to get everything figured out. And you just said, big O,
little O,
H.
big O, little O.
And I was like,
that was excitement. That was like, oh.
Yeah, but you could have just said, oh, tell me more. What did you get?
Yeah.
What's your thought process?
Yeah, this new stuff is exciting to me, by the way. Like, you guys see a new picture, I see a new picture. Yeah. Like, cool, I just walked in. This is fresh.
Yeah, but it's like, my dad, because we have the dojo and stuff like that. I'll send him.
So there's like a lot of very in-depth planning.
Exactly. He and I, sometimes we'll be talking about, I think that we should work on. I'll text him like, "Hey, I think that we should work on this because it would help out this student, this student. What do you think?" Okay. I'm like, I'm trying to get some substance out of you. It's not, and I think the problem is, I'm too old school. I'm too old. I'm in the mentality of text messaging as a text message, but it's
almost
not
like an email.
It's not as a scarce commodity as it used to be, because text messaging back when I was in high school was you had to pay per text message, or you had a plan. I had unlimited text messages. I think it was senior year of high school because I had a sidekick. Mm-hmm. I had a T-Mobile sidekick. So,
well, it's funny you bring up all these things because I started out as a very in-depth text messenger because first of all, I'm an English major, so a sentence that's not capitalized, that doesn't have punctuation, initially was like abhorrent to me.
Bro,
English major.
Should I show your text messages now?
I know.
And then you just stop giving shit?
Well, I used to get shit for being too, formal, because somebody would say something and I would be like, yes, I'll meet you there at 5, period. And it'd be like, Jesus Christ, what did I do? And I'm like, nothing. I put a period on the end. What's the big deal?
See, and Kate has explained it to me whenever, because she sends me like rapid fire text messages, and the problem is she has an iPhone, she has an iMac for work, or she has her MacBook for her for home. So she's using iMessage. So it's almost like exactly, almost like AIM. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just it. Again, in my, old man brain, I've been kicked in the head too many times, I think, that it's just like I said, I'm in the mentality that text messages are still a, scarce commodity, that I'm trying to get the most out of it, but that's not the case. And then when it comes to instant messaging, because, on work, we use Slack. It's a messaging service. We use Slack, and it's a quick back and forth thing. Twitch chat, YouTube chats, stuff like that. I send it back and forth because they are solely instant messaging. Right. But text messages, I'm sitting here, especially like I said, when I'm texting my dad, I'm trying to get some substance out of the conversation, and he just said, "Okay."
I think it's funny that you mentioned that your first phone was a sidekick, because the physical keyboards had a different text kind of like, I want to say social style. Yeah. Like I started with those too, and I love the feel of it, and like knowing where the keys were, with that you could do it without even looking. I feel like Swipe and all these other phones have just degraded further and further. Mm-hmm. I do the same thing on Facebook. Like my Facebook post used to be so eloquent, and
now you just post memes.
Like, hey dude, and then it's also funnier.
No, you just post memes. That's how you post. Too,
but it's also funnier the less wordy you are. It's like punchy and kind of like stupid, like purposefully stupid. Like,
hey guys, butts.
The other day I was like, guys, it's raining. no punctuation, no capitalization. It's just like, nobody cares that it's raining. But I was like, man, it's raining. So I just wanted it to be inherently stupid.
Yeah, Fletch, I'm sure that it's absolutely just a Robbi issue. I'm not doubting it. It is 100% my issue. Just because, like I said, my old man brain I'm still stuck in, early 2000s.
That's fine. I was that guy too. Like I said, English major. The worst is when if you would try to have like romantic conversations that way, like flirtation, and you'd be like, you know, this really clever, you know, play on words, and they would be like, cool. I'm gonna go kill myself.
Well, that's just it too. You know, again, sorry, Kay, I'm throwing you under the bus. But it's like whenever her and I started talking, you know, and I'm like trying to impress her, that was like a thing too. And that's just how she's been. You know, all the time that we've been talking, it's just like very short. And finally, you know, I did.
Shit to do.
I told her, you know, I told her, I'm like, listen, stop. Just stop. So what
I knew we would be talking about our girlfriends when you broached the topic.
I know she hates it when I do it, but she'll send me a one-word text message, and from there on, I'll send her only one-word text messages. Like, or what I'll do is she'll send one-word text message, and I send like 7 rapid fire.
But then
okay,
it seems like you're mad.
no, yay,
like,
OMG.
Let me tell you something. Now listen, sit down. It's like that's what it sounds like when you have that 252 characters. Oh, a text message is only 250. I'm gonna have to find out how to word this. I'm gonna replace my ands with ampersands so that I can keep my texting limit down.
And like whenever she sends me something like Fletch is over here saying, "You listen here, Mr. Man." Like he's posted like one word.
Exactly.
And that's what I do to Kate sometimes too.
You don't get it.
So she'll send me just like rapid fire 5 text messages back to back to back. And the annoying part is, and I think that this is another reason why it annoys me, rapid fire text messages. I get the text message on my phone and my watch vibrates at the same time. So
you're like, something's going on at work.
Exactly. I'm at work and I'm getting all these messages. My wrist is vibrating like crazy. My phone's vibrating like crazy. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I look at it. So then what I start doing is I'll type out one thought, but I'll break it up into like 7 text messages. Just like stop it midway, send, type the rest of the sentence, send.
You know what's the worst thing? Like, I can imagine her being, let's say, at the grocery store, and she's like, "Do you want chicken for dinner, or maybe pork, or maybe this?" And like the one you wanted was 5 options ago, but you can't just be like, "Yeah," because there's like 5 options.
Well, it's like,
okay, here's my response. A, pork sounds good. B, don't forget the blank. C, yes. You know, it's like you have to address every single thing.
Kind of like off topic a bit, but it's like it's just something that, like my nephew when he was younger. Well, one of my nephews when he was younger, he you know, I think he was staying at our place at my parents' house, and we asked him like, "Oh, do you want apple juice or orange juice?"
Yes.
Yes. What?
I think in his mind, it's
you want? What do you want?
Would you like some apple juice or orange juice? And he's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Give me one."
Yeah, it's like, okay, just you want a kamikaze? Just cocktail them together. There you go. No, but what up, Osabug?
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Welcome.
But yeah, so that's just my pet peeve, and it's just like, man, that is just the one thing that gets. Well, I guess like I said,
how much?
The two
how much
things.
Are we talking? Because I know a pet peeve, it could mean like, that's annoying, or it could mean like, I'm furiously angry every time I see it. You know
my dad sends me a
10 scale.
My dad sends me a one-word text message now. I just send him the thumbs up, no matter what it is. And it's passive aggressive. Like my dad will do it. He'll send me a one-word text message. Okay, yeah. I send him the thumbs up, and I put my phone aside, and then he texts me, and I'll wait. It's kind of like no.
Good. That's pretty serious.
I'll show. Yeah, it just annoys me, and like I said, Kate, and then sometimes so she knows, like, you know, when I go to lunch, I call her, and because I usually walk across the street to go to the restaurant.
And you're free, and you're
and I call her. And she, like, her and I will start talking, and I'll just respond in just one word. How's work going? Good. Yeah. Anything exciting happening? No. Like she said it here. She's like, when she realizes that she's done it now, she feels bad.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I did not mean to do it. But like I said, it's just, I don't know. It just, that's one thing that just irks me. And it's just very bothersome.
I didn't know until now. Like I've probably just been shitting on it for months.
Like you said, the one text, the one letter, K.
I think I've hit you with
so
K.
when people have before, this was like years ago, and like this has been something that just annoyed me for years. When people used to send K, I would send them a image that was the periodic table, the element
the
K, potassium, and it was at the bottom.
Yes,
exactly at the bottom it says potassium to you too, motherfucker.
Man,
So I was just dropped the
I
chair.
never did
Holy
that
crap!
like that text shorthand that's like, okay, BB. I do BB like.
Yeah, exactly.
ironically.
BB, you know that's like, oh my god, BB, I love you.
Yeah, I never did
it's
that like
jokingly.
really, too edgy for you. Like replacing words with letters and numbers and just trying to keep it short. I never did that like really cringiness, but
No,
I do it ironically. Like there's a funny thread I was in where somebody was talking about like ironically they were talking about like, don't watch porno, it makes you a zombie to your desires, and then the top comment was like, my prescriptions make it hard for me to ejaculate. And I was just like, what?
Oh, that's the way you just posted.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, is this a cry for help? Are you looking for feedback, or are you just trying to like show your pain to the world? And it was very like oversharey.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, bud.
Yeah.
No apostrophe, no capitalization.
And yeah, Fletch, like
what can you say to that?
You just asked, what happened to you? You just hit call. Yeah. So sometimes some people don't like calling, and I know that's like a thing. But I enjoy calling people. I know some people.
I don't mind calling, but I hate Skype calls, Facebook calls, anything where they like call you through something.
Yeah.
It's like, you have my number. Why are you making me?
Well,
talk
some
to you,
people, that's
headset?
like the only communication I have with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people, Discord. I use Discord for a lot of things, and I'll just do that. Like Ostbug, I've talked to Ostbug a few times, and obviously, I don't have his phone number. He doesn't have my phone number, but we'll call. We'll. But also, we're doing other things with these Discord calls.
Right.
We're talking exactly. We're sharing screen. We're talking about music and stuff like that. So I'm playing something, he's playing something. So like stuff like that. But yeah, no phone calls. I'm
oh
all
my god, you fucking asshole!
Is it somebody just calling?
He's calling.
Is it Adam?
He's calling me because I said I don't like being called on Facebook. He's calling me.
Adam is calling you right now.
I hate just everything has a different text or a different tone, and it's just like, I got something going on my left monitor. I'm in a chat with someone. I'm listening to music, and then it's like, boop, 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 boop. Like, God damn it, leave me alone.
Yes, yeah.
It just feels like someone's shouting in your bedroom window. It's like, you can call me, you can text me.
Oh, that's been a few times. Some people have.
That's funny though. Good work, Flash.
Yeah, he just sent a thumbs up.
You get to see the result. You just basically like diet swatted me on the podcast.
There's some people that have, sometimes on the mobile, and I've done it a few times where I'm scrolling through on Discord and my finger will just go too high up, and I'll accidentally hit the call button. Or on the Slack, sometimes my work phone just freezes up. I'm trying to move something over, and my thumb will hit the call, and I'll call everybody that's in a certain conversation. I'm like, fuck, guys, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do it.
They'll hear like echoey toilet farts, like.
No. Thank God. If that does happen, it's on purpose because I want them to fire me. I want them to fire me.
I've definitely like, I can't think of an example off the top, but I've definitely sent out like something I wasn't supposed to send out, or like pocket dialed somebody when I'm like getting laid or taking a shit. Who knows? Like, I just can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah. And another thing, like with Kate just brought up with Discord, also is sometimes people will join in on a voice chat on accident. One of her friends. And
they don't say anything. You don't hear the like join sound?
Well, she didn't know that she was in a voice chat, so she joined my Discord channel, joined a voice chat on accident. She was working with Caitlin at the time, but she was in a different hotel room, and I saw she was in, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna join in, and I'm like, hello, and she was like. She's like, what's going on? Where's that coming from? And then she realized what it was.
Like, what tab is playing music?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand where that sound is coming from. Disturbed. I don't like Disturbed.
But yeah, so again, that was my pet peeve. I don't know.
That reminds me of a good story. One time I was taking a Spanish exam in college in UCF, and Christine walked by naked in the background, and it was a proctored exam where they're like taping you to make sure that it's you taking the test. So as a female professor, I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I was worried that, like, you know what I mean, the golden rule, the student code, I thought that I could get in like big trouble, and she was just like, no, I'll just watch the beginning of the video to make sure it's you, and then I'll grade it, and then it's fine. And
oh man,
but it was in my mind, it was like, what have you done?
What was that?
I'm taking a test right now.
What was that site? There was a site that like you would like jump in on like different different
exactly.
people,
and people only do it to either like just do silly shit.
Yeah.
And masturbate. I can't think of what it. Chat roulette.
It was chat roulette. So there was one time at the old band house.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys just got done with practice, and me and some other people, we were just joking around on chat roulette. Corey walks right behind us, butt ass naked.
Corey's a beast.
Just yes, Corey is not a small guy or anything. He's a big guy. He has no shame.
All the stories that I tell you about like crazy shit that I've done or been a part of, I'm sure his are 10 times.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there, and I just remember him going into the kitchen, and then coming out around. And I'm just like,
and he didn't live there, by the way.
No, he didn't live there.
Naked.
No, and I'm like looking on the computer. I'm like, fucking Corey's naked. Corey, you are naked.
One time he did the whole practice set naked, and he was sitting in the throne, and he was like, we were trying to do a song, and he's like pulling my arm towards his crotch, and he's a big dude. He probably, at the time, he probably weighed almost twice what I weighed. So I'm just like, the full force of my fighting is not enough to resist. It's slowly coming closer in the orbit of his crotch.
Yeah.
No, like a wolf in a bear trap, just dying, fighting the extent of my will.
Yeah, I think I probably saw Corey naked more times than anybody else.
You know what's funny? I've seen him naked so many times that my brain hasn't stored one for reference. It was that common of an occurrence that I don't even remember what his trunk looks like. It was just like, it's another day.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, there were times that he would just like be playing drums in his underwear and stuff. I was like,
balls
all right, no shame, that's fine.
Did you ever accidentally like see a friend's parents' balls or anything when you were a kid? Or like,
no. What? Why? No.
So my next door neighbor and we were on like, we were friends for so long, and we lived obviously right next door, that there was me walking in the door without knocking at your place. It was as close friend level as you could get. It was like you could walk in, not knocking,
open the fridge
in the middle of the night with the parents,
no questions.
Go to the fridge. Yeah, anything. It was like I watched his dogs when his parents were out of town. Anything you could think of. And his dad was laying pavers in a sidewalk in shorts, and he was like a fat dude, and the shorts were ripped, and he didn't know they were ripped. And he was like crouching and doing bricks, so his testicles are just like swinging freely.
Oh no!
This family that lived next door to me was so wild. Like one time, we had a sleepover, and I was playing Doom on the 32X in the middle of the night, and I hear his parents like. The living room touches the master bedroom, so I hear them like going at it, which is not that uncommon. And he's like a 300-pound dude with this little wife. So when they were done, I could clearly hear through the wall, she's like, "Get the fuck off me." So it was like half a reflection of like their marriage falling apart and her not wanting anything to do with it other than sex, and half of a reflection of like the size difference is like really serious. So, and I'm like 12, and I just hear, oh God, get the fuck off me in the middle of the night. I'm just like, what do I do? Where do I go? I can't pretend like I haven't heard this, because they both know I've heard this.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like that at other houses too. Like, I'd be on their computer in like the middle of the night, burning the midnight oil, playing Warcraft 2 or whatever the game of the time was, because I didn't have a computer at home. And like I'd hear the bedroom door slowly roll open, and be like, "Are you still awake?" I'm like, "Sorry." I got in trouble lots of times.
You were staying up past your bedtime at friends' houses.
Yeah, and sleepovers. I was really.
How dare you?
First of all, I've always been hardcore gamer, like to an extent that most people don't understand. Elite gamer. I would sign on to play like EverQuest on my friend's AOL, but he shared the account with his grandpa, so his grandpa would be like booted off the internet. On the other side of the county, like, "What are you doing awake at 12 o'clock using my AOL account?"
Wow.
Like, "I'm sorry." I got in a lot of trouble with my friends' families. I feel like there's one right on the tip of my tongue. Well, I would use their pool when they weren't home and leave like toys and crap around, because I was just a dumb kid. I didn't think anything of it. So then I lost my pool privilege. I raided my friend's dad's weed when he was out of town when I was in like 7th or 8th grade. But he had so much of it that he would probably never do, so it was missing. Excuse me. That was a good one. And the internet especially was a source of trouble. I got caught watching there was a Terminator parody that was like lightly sexual. It wasn't like a softcore porn, like cheeky parody. It was like a real movie that one of the selling points just happened to be like gratuitous nudity shots of the main character.
Yeah.
And it, I can't remember what it was called. Anyways, the female Terminator, and it's the same thing. Somebody wakes up and like opens a door, and it just happens to be a titty on the screen, and I'm like, I can explain.
Oh my God. Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But so I just want to see, like I said, the pet peeves. what is something that
Well,
like a pet peeve of yours
yeah.
that like I said, mine just gets under my skin and I just
kind
can't.
of unusual. I don't think I'm on as high on the scale as you are, but I definitely run into it all the time. People that don't use segues really just bothers the shit out of me. My wife will
Like the electronic thing, the Segway, right?
So what?
The Segway, like the electronic
No
mover.
No.
You want everybody on Segways? Okay, I got.
Device.
Yeah.
When I say mobility device, it sounds like it's for handicapped people, and I think that's appropriate for when it comes to segues.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll just be sitting on the couch and we'll be having a conversation that's been going on a long time. There's an established path.
Yes, I know what you're exactly talking about.
There has to be, you have to be like you said, I know this is a little off topic, or just something, just introduce the topic somehow, or like, remember that thing we saw the other day? This is what made me think of it. No, we'll just be like, man, this scary movie is, this is crazy, and she'll just be like, I like pork chops. It's just like, what do you? Just give me a sentence. Just give me 2 words. Just tell me that you're going to change gears.
Like I've had people like in my past, do that same thing. It's like, but it's kind of like they'll ask a question. Mm-hmm. So exactly, we can have just like an entire conversation about this thing, and then they'll be like,
and it's not done. It's not concluded.
Well, it's not that it's not concluded or anything. They'll be like, oh, so how do you think they feel?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Who?
Pronouns that's part of the bad segue is a pronoun that's not introduced.
Exactly. How do you think they feel? Oh, the people on the television. No, Cindy and Sally from last week. Do you not remember? Like, no, we were just talking about the movie.
Yeah, she'll do that too. It'll be like, we'll be in bed and about to fall asleep, and there's like a little chit chat while we're just kind of getting tired, and she'll just be like, well, I like that too, or something like a that or they or this without introducing what the topic was.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I know that there's a conversation going on in your head, but you got to clue me in on what we're talking about.
Kate's done it a few times, but she's not really that bad.
My wife is so bad; it doesn't make any sense. Like, I can't follow the jumps that led her there.
Most of the time, Kate doesn't do the whole talking about one conversation, then all of a sudden just like another random thought. No, it's she'll start talking about something, and then it just expect me to know what it is. I'm like, you gotta give me more context.
Yeah.
You gotta give me more context. Come on. Mm-hmm. Preface what you're talking about with a story. Tell me what's leading into it.
My wife is so random; it doesn't even make any sense.
She is
falling asleep, and we'd be talking about traveling, and be like, "Remember when we went to so and so place? It'd be great if we went to so and so place." And then she'll be like,
"I like turtles." No, that's like what?
I think we're almost out of ketchup. And I was like, first of all, it just slams the door closed on whatever you're talking about. It's not an open-ended statement. It's just like, okay, we'll buy. What do you want me to say? We'll buy more ketchup tomorrow. Like, and she has this desire to like. We don't see each other a lot, and our work schedules are different. So she'll have this desire to just kind of like include me in things and be around me. And half of the shows she likes, I just cannot stand, like Outlander, female period dramas, and she just want to talk to me about them. And I'm like, you realize that I don't care about anything you're saying, right? I mean, I want to be around you. I want to talk to you, but like, I really don't care.
Right.
The absolute worst thing, and this, I'm surprised I didn't think of this first because it is a pet peeve of mine. People talking to me about their dreams.
What? I just want to grow up to be this.
Not their desires, not their life goals.
Not the aspirations.
Yeah, not their aspirations. Literally their random, soundtrack of their subconscious mind. Like, to me, every story about your dreams starts with an implied, guess what didn't happen to me today? Because it's not real. It's like, I don't... And to me, here's a story about a dream, right? Man, I had a weirdest dream last night. I was in blank place. I saw a blank place. This is why it was weird. The end. I summarized it very quickly. I understand that you're probably not that interested, but I woke up in a weird mental state because I had a weird dream.
And then I peed myself. What?
But also, in addition to peeing myself and waking up in a cold sweat, crying for my mommy, I don't remember a lot about my dreams. I just remember the main plot points. Christine remembers every single detail, and she wants me to know every single detail. I was in a field, and there were yellow flowers. There were marigolds. There were 12 of them, and it's just like every single detail.
Cut to the chase. Come on.
Give me the Cliff Notes version. Like, it doesn't make it. First of all, the story starts with none of this actually happened. Second of all, I don't care. Third of all, like, I don't understand. It doesn't enrich your life at all to tell me about your dreams. Like, you know what I mean?
Going back to what you said about the whole segue thing. So Fletch says that you have to fight back when that happens and go the complete opposite direction. So just completely steer it somewhere else, just or like bring it back to the conversation.
I'm gonna make a conscious effort to do that. It would be so funny if we were like about to fall asleep and then my wife was like, I think we're almost out of ketchup, and I'd be like, did you know 9/11 was an inside job?
Just throw a wrench in it, and then watch it like.
It's like, this is the conversation. There's a steering wheel, and she grabs the wheel and is like, let's go this way. And I'm like, whoa!
You do a complete 360.
I'm thinking it's off this bridge. We are going into the ocean.
Yeah, and then Kate says that she starts telling me, and then I'm not listening, so I miss the story. So I missed the preface. I missed the introduction to her conversation.
That's fair. I mean... The other day, I was doing something on my computer, playing a game, watching a video, the usual, and my wife said something, and I was like, hold on, I'm doing something. And she's like, when are you not doing something? Like, when is anyone not doing something?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, if doing something precludes conversation, then no conversation will ever happen. So I'm like, okay, that's a fair point. I'll, distance myself and pay more attention to what you're saying. But dear God, it better be worth it, because this YouTube video about ants is really interesting.
Hey, ants are interesting, but I know. For me, sometimes Kate tells me like about some dreams, but I'm just like, okay, I'll listen to it.
Did she summarize at least? I understand if it's like a very deep emotional impact that it had on you. It's like, this dream is like, I saw someone that was really important to me. Like, yeah, we'll talk about it. But like, if it's just some weird plot, action plot,
I don't really pay attention to my dreams most of the time.
They're just in one ear and out the other.
So I don't ever like tell stories about dreams, but there's sometimes I've had weird dreams. I've told her about. I'm like, we were at a haunted house. I was skateboarding. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was weird. That happens in haunted houses. That's the end. That's the end of it.
Yeah. You know what's really weird too? I've had this conversation sometimes with friends or family members where they're attaching almost like psychic significance to their dream. They're like, I think something's gonna, and I'm just like,
and then they flip it to
that right there. Yeah.
A spider means, all right.
Yeah, exactly. Let me stop
Marigolds
you right,
mean.
Yeah, let me stop you right there. You're worried about something. If you're worried about something, then let's talk about the thing you're worried about. But it's not significant because you dream about it.
Right.
That I'm like, I feel like I have to pick my battles very carefully when it comes to like belief systems, and I have decided that astrology is my enemy. If we can just smash astrology and just remove it from the public lexicon completely, that will be one step in the right direction for logic and science. Let's just. And people can't be that attached to it, right? They can't be like, but that's a core belief.
Didn't we talk about this once? Where it's just like some people, they say, oh yeah, you're such and such, and I'm like, yeah, that's such a you thing. It's like, is it though?
I saw a study that a professor took an entire room of students, a college group, let's say 300 people, and asked them all what their horoscope was, and gave them all a reading or whatever, a daily astrology thing, and then he took a poll on what
I didn't know what you're talking about.
What their perceived accuracy of it was, or what their response was, and it was very positive. They were like, wow, you really knew us. And then he revealed to the class that he just gave everybody the same thing. And,
I saw that.
I've heard that since we had the conversation about
I know we're sidetracking, but it is it is what it is. Kate was watching a video yesterday. She's I don't know what channel it was on YouTube, but they have like a whole bunch of these little like videos where it's like, oh, guess the career of this person, where it's just like somebody, one person with like 12 other people. They have a list and they get to ask the person questions, and they're like, okay, I think you're a rocket scientist. I think you're a mathematician. I think you're a teacher. I think you're a janitor. And there was one, and then they reveal which ones they got right, which ones they got wrong. But the one that I saw that she was watching yesterday was a professional astrologer, and he
so it's a guy who sits at a desk writing nonsense.
Well, he had a room full of there's 12 signs, I think, or 10 signs, and he was asking them a series of questions, and from those series of questions he deduced, okay, you're this, you're that, you're that. I think he got 2 right. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that goes to show you
I've actually looked into it a lot since we talked about it. Like when you obviously Yahoo Answers is a joke. It's like, how is Babby formed? People are just so dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
How is Babby formed? Wow.
I saw one about astrology where it started off like, honestly enough, like, why do people believe in astrology? So and so, and all the respondents were like, their job is like professional astrologer. They're like, I've been doing readings for 12 years. It's like it's like. I'm a nothing burger. It's like, I'm a nothing burger. I'm a nothing burger. I'm a nothing burger. And they're all giving their professional opinion that means absolutely nothing over and over again. And they're having these strong emotional reactions because they think that what they do is so illogical and important.
Give people, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to put your faith into it, and just go run with it. You do you.
I have to do something. I hope.
Why do you want to crush?
I hope no one's willing to die on that hill. Is what I'm saying. I hope that of all the ideas that we have as a society, that's one that people will be like, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe it's not that important to me.
No, I think that people want something to believe in. People want something to give them a sense of direction, almost. So
that's fair. So we'll get back to pet peeves.
Yeah.
So we both talked about pet peeves that we have with current relationships that obviously we're working around because we're still in them. Do you have a pet peeve from a past relationship or something that you initially liked that became a pet peeve because you broke up and because you don't get along with that person anymore? I'll start with mine and I'll give you time to think about yours.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there was a girl that I dated and she called everybody kiddo. And everybody has their own kind of like social tics. Some of them are endearing, some of them are annoying, some of them come and go. But this one was like core to her, character design, her character sheet. And when we were interested in each other, I was like, that's cute, that's so funny. But
that's so you. It's so unique.
But then when we weren't interested in each other and it ended kind of badly and we were still kind of around the same circles, and every single time I heard it, it was like, I hate that.
All right, kiddo, so you don't want me to call you that?
I mean, I get it. I wouldn't be mad if just random person off the street said it, but that's just one turn of phrase that I couldn't. There's some that I've actually adopted. The guy who I saw his nuts, actually, my friend's dad, he always said, instead of thank you, he always said, I appreciate you. And he didn't say appreciate cha like people do casually. It's not like I appreciate what you did. It's like I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for who you are. And I saw that because I was like, that seems really genuine.
Yeah. I mean, just that pet peeve of one word text messages. It's just been accumulated over time, but I don't think that it's just been something that's been just annoying me for a long time since text messaging became more regular. Yeah. But I don't think that there's one that's like,
just person specific.
Yeah, person specific where it's just like all of a sudden just don't do that.
Obviously, everybody hates mouth breathing because that's where mouth breather came from. It's kind of like everybody knows that that's not something you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
When you initially told me about pet peeves, I couldn't for the life of me come up with one. And the more I talk, the more I realize that I do have some. But
you have a lot of pet peeves?
They're low level. Like the same way that I said, I appreciate you was like something that I adopted. Yeah. I really hate nothing phrases like have a good one. It's like, have a good what?
Have a good day.
Yeah, but they didn't even take the time to say have a good day. They just went, have a good one. It's just like it means nothing.
All right, kiddo, you have a good one.
Anybody. And the more that I learn Spanish and the more that I use Spanish in stores and stuff, Spanish people are the worst. Every single like casual conversation thing comes out so fast and so ingenuine that they're completely worthless. Like, tengo un día. Have a good day. Yeah. It's not even words. It's just sounds that we're used to making with our mouths. Like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so Fletch over here says the one that annoys him is when people say same difference. I need to know. I wish we had him on live because I need to know why. Because same difference to me is one of those words that actually is useful for the meaning that people intend to use it for, and it's short and to the point. So I kind of like same, but different.
Okay, that's bad. I probably do something that annoys a lot of people in casual conversation. I repeat things twice. Yeah. Like if you did something with the camera, I'd be like, cool. Or if I agree with something, I'd be like, good job. And I'm sure if you took If you took it's I think it's more at work because work is very like positive affirmative. So you have to kind of like yes and you have to keep the ball rolling and keep ideas coming. So it's like yeah. I don't know. I just noticed that I do it.
I've never noticed that.
I'm very self-aware, which leads me to remembering embarrassment very vividly for like forever, basically. Like when I put my foot in my mouth, I'm just like, I'm gonna remember this forever.
That's every time you open your mouth, though.
Yeah. There was a time. When I was about 6, I was in a movie gallery renting a VHS tape.
Okay.
And there was a little girl, maybe 5, renting a VHS tape, and I was like, I saw she was having like some trouble and she didn't know what she was looking for.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me help you out. I was like, I'm a cool guy. I'll help you find this thing. And I know this store like the back of my, and then in my brain, I was like, back of my hand, too obvious. Everybody uses that. Super cliche. Got to do better. Back of my nuts. And then I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I just say that to a 5-year-old? I was like 6. So even at 6, I was like, don't be cliche. You know what I mean? Who cares? Like, I was 6 years old. So, and now, you know, in my 30s, I still remember this day. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I do that?
That's like that meme of like, okay, time for bed. And like the brain's like, hey, remember that one embarrassing thing you did 20 years ago? It's like, and all of a sudden you're up all night. Like sometimes, you know, I have those moments, but yeah, no,
some of them are bad. Like that one's funny at least, but some of them are not funny at all. And you'll just be, you know, at the grocery store shopping for bread, and you just go, like, why now? Everyone's gonna look at me and they're gonna know that thing that I said.
I'm just trying to think about what could possibly have been. Like
from a relationship.
From a relationship, but I got really? Nothing. I can't really think of anything.
I don't want to like shit on anybody and like, you know, encourage you to talk bad about somebody, but I can see how your last serious relationships taxidermy thing could be like cool when you're together, like, oh, that's a quirky you know, hobby, and then when you're out of the relationship, you're like, get that stinky fucking garbage out of my house.
No, you know, I thought some of it looked cool.
But initially, I gotta say, she probably is used to having this response. I think people initially are grossed out.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because you know it's a stuffed dead. Well, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's the fur.
Dead animals is kind
it's
of a
the
weird
fur
thing.
of a dead animal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, no,
I get the whole like gothy, big titty goth girl. You know, the
big titty goth girl.
Phrase, you know, my girl when I met her was a goth. The first time I saw her, she was in a full length crushed velvet dress with black boots on.
What color was the trench coat?
No trench coat. But another girl that I had a huge crush on in high school did have a trench coat at the time, and.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fletch just like explained. Same difference is the absolute vaguest thing you can possibly say. It doesn't mean same thing. It doesn't mean opposite thing. Same difference is like red and blue, and both. It's like saying red and blue are both not yellow. They have the same difference, but so does every other color that isn't yellow. And then he said he needs a drink now.
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking of it in terms of people say same difference because they're saying the difference of these things is so irrelevant that we shouldn't talk about it, and I'm just going to blow up the whole spot by saying same difference.
Yeah.
I'm purposely saying something that's meaningless, but when he explains it like that, I see how it offends him on like a logical level. There's phrases that annoy me like that. I really hate when people use like the word original wrong, where they're like, original is really weird because it can mean something very old and the first of its kind, or it can mean something very new. Yeah. So people will often use it incorrectly.
So I don't think he's still hanging around here, but Osbug, I know that he's brought up one of his pet peeves, and I think it's a common thing with like a lot of people too. Is
going to be chewing?
Is when they kind of repeat the same word, ATM machine.
Oh yeah.
PIN number. It's just it's already there. Yeah. You don't need to. What you say? Automatic teller machine. You
know what's funny?
Personal identification number.
Now that you've said that to me, you've planted the seed that I'm gonna start seeing it. Like I know it's there. I know it's everywhere, and I've been just kind of brushing over it without thinking about it. But now that I know, I can't unknow.
So Osbug is here, and Osbug brought up what I say. So as a joke. You know, it's. I think it's always been pretty much a meme that I've been around pretty much since 7th, 8th grade, and when I got into online gaming, people would say, and it goes into this whole, like I said, ATM machine.
Right.
I say, rip in peace. R.I.P.
Yeah, but you
in
say it
peace.
ironically.
Exactly. I'd
Yeah,
say
yeah.
ironically, or rest and rip. I'll say that, and it's just like exactly. It's always been a kind of like a meme to me, and I kind of, I don't know if it bothered somebody in his chat, but
Like, what are you doing?
I said it, and the person responded like, "I don't get it. What's the point of it? It's so stupid." And I was like I said,
That's the point.
it's been pretty much a meme since I got into online gaming back in middle school, and it's just stuck in my brain.
Yeah, some of those are very game specific too, like words like frag.
Shazbot.
Specifically, yeah, Shazbot or kill ultra combo. It's like
Combo breaker.
Or, the killing streak words in like under the tournament. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it'll be like
I wasn't because he just said that he thinks that Michael Scott from The Office brought it back, and I honestly I've watched The Office like a million times, and I know you said in your chat, oh yeah, I think that's an Office thing, but like I said, I got into it because of Star Siege Tribes, and then Star Siege Tribes, when I was playing online, people would say rip in peace, and like I said, it's just stuck with me ever since. Star Siege Tribes, Counter-Strike, any kind of online game, I always said that, and it's just been in my head since then, and it's just, but again, I say it ironically, people say it purposefully, like I said,
right.
Oh yeah, you gonna go to the ATM machine? Fuck what?
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm gonna start. It's gonna, you know, the telltale heart, like the heartbeat under the floor. That's gonna be me with this. Every time someone sees me.
Yeah, Fletch brought up hot water heater. Well, it's not. You're gonna have a hot water cooler, right? I guess. I mean, you can have a hot water cooler. Do you want to bring down the temperature of the hot water?
Depends on
I don't know.
I feel like the worst thing that I'm guilty of is the inapplicable U2, where you're like buying a ticket at the movie theater and they're like, enjoy the movie, and I'm like, U2.
Oh well, that's just you're trying to be polite in a wrong situation. So. Me going in the morning, I usually go across the street to the restaurant in the other building of my work, and I get breakfast. The lady who's the manager of the security over there, she nicest old lady ever, and she's like, "Good morning." I go upstairs, grab my food, come back down, and she says, "Enjoy your breakfast." And I have to struggle with myself every morning to not say "you too." So I have it like when I'm walking down the stairs and I know she's gonna say it, I say, "Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Enjoy your breakfast. Have a good day."
Oh, okay.
And then that I have to fight myself though, because there's been times where I've done that where I'll buy food at for takeout. And they're like, enjoy your dinner. You too.
I think the safest course for us to continue, or me specifically, to avoid both the meaningless nothing, the have a good one, the you too, and to avoid the inapplicable you too, is to just not use you too at all. Just be like, have a canned response that's like, I love you.
That's
oh wow. The best when I used to get my hair done when I was like in the band, the hairdresser, his thing was always like, "Love your guts."
Yeah. You said that. Love your guts.
I like that because it gets people thinking. They're like,
so
why did they just say that to me?
So I think I brought up some bad things to Ostbug and Fletch.
They're like steaming right now.
Ostbug brought up irregardless.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, it's not real words. So people, well, doesn't matter. Irregardless, this is what we're doing. No, just stop.
I also hate when people have the wrong word where it's like I can't. It's similar to irregardless, but I can't think of it off the top.
And then mischievous. It's not. It's not mischievous.
Ooh.
Mischievous.
Ooh. There's a lot of those like weird
eyes. And then.
There's phrases where they use the wrong word.
Here it is. So Fletcher brought this one up. All intensive purposes.
That's the one.
For all intensive purposes.
There's a couple like that. Yeah. They're just egregious. They're just unforgivable, especially if you're in an educated environment, a professional environment.
And to bring up like what Ostbug said, mischievous. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I like to say words like that, like, "Oh yeah, you're the epitome of annoying.
Well, you're
like
doing that on
epitome.
purpose.
Like
Yeah.
exactly. Again,
you put the
I'm
wrong
doing
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
put the emphasis on the wrong. Thank you. You know that.
There's
Thank you.
also like a thing where you're giving it. I think mischievous is
Yeah.
where you're like
Yeah.
giving it an extra spice that it doesn't need.
And Ospa just brought up so that there's a subreddit for those whole the wrong words.
Mm-hmm.
It's bone apple tea.
Yeah, right.
Because it's supposed to. It started out
I've
with
seen
one
those.
meme that was
I've seen
supposed to be bon appetit,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody said bone apple tea.
They're like text to talk, or they're on Twitter and they don't know the
Yeah.
phrase, and they're like showing the world that they don't know the phrase.
Yeah.
You know what's really weird too? England has a very different way of saying some of these words that makes it a different word entirely. Like jaguar, it's like
Aluminium.
yeah, aluminium is a good one because it's not spelled that way, but yet that's
Well, they
how-
do spell it differently, I believe.
sure?
I think
I thought it
because
was spelled the same, but pronounced
I had this
differently.
conversation with a different Rocksmith streamer, Noonie, and she's from I think she lives in London. I could be wrong. I'm not sure where in
saw
the
a
UK.
lot of these
In the
when I
UK,
was
she
there.
lives, but every time she does say something to the effect of aluminium or one of these other words,
I can
and
understand like different spelling, like
and
armor,
yeah.
theater,
and jokingly I say you're saying it wrong. It's aluminum. Like in the chat,
Right.
you're saying it wrong. It's aluminum. And she
we
said,
speak
no,
the
no,
same
no.
language.
We spell it correctly.
I'd be interested
So-
to see that because aluminum's on the periodic table,
Yeah.
so they'd literally be changing the periodic table to.
Well, no. So
fit
they do
their
say.
pronunciation.
So Osbug is saying that they do spell it. Well,
I'm
Osbug
so happy.
Osbug says that they smell it differently, but I think that
Right.
he for all intents and purposes he
Yeah.
means spelt.
Robbi, this is a momentous occasion.
What's up?
The momentous occasion is that we just had the chat find information for us, solve a problem for us, prove a point for us.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that my problem is when I hear people try to use like these big words and just looking at you have
fancy.
no clue what that is. I've worked like
Yeah.
my old manager. I was kind of intimidated by him. He was a very smart guy and he had a large vocabulary. And I'm just like, man, I thought I was smart.
Yeah.
But no, I felt dumb.
You know, sometimes I've found instances where the person who is outwardly providing the appearance of being smart is not actually smart.
Yeah, that's
I've
90%
seen-
of my day.
Yeah, I've seen people where they're like literally like word one on their Plenty of Fish profile. It's like, I'm smart. Like, look how smart I am. I'm going to show off how smart I am all the time. And then you talk to them about something and you're like, you're an idiot, dude. You don't know anything. And yeah, especially in tech fields or tech writing, you know, I'm an English major, so you'll see it all the time where people's resumes are like, I am a professional at achieving results, resulting achievements, you know, pushing boundaries, explore, you know, it's just nothing, more and more nothing, and just line after line of nothing. And the irony being that they have like, you know, government security clearance, they have some high level job, and you're just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, my buddy who works in the Navy now is telling me, like, you know, when you told me you were getting into tech writing, I thought it sounded really dumb. And then 6 months later, I've been dealing with people who are nuclear physicists who can't clearly express an idea. You know what I mean? They cannot communicate with each other. They have no social skills.
Right.
They have no vocabulary. They're just like, yeah, you know, the thing. And then people die because something's not written user friendly. Somebody with a, you know, high level degree has no ability to write
Right.
or communicate.
Yeah.
That's scary to think about. Like, you know, somebody welding in a nuclear sub, or you know, somebody anything.
Just having incorrect vocabulary or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
And text.
Said people will like turn on a torch without waiting for the guy next to him to put their goggles on and like blind him for the entire day. It's
I'm
like, we're high level government
Yeah.
positions. We're
Trying
just
to
fucking
think.
idiots.
Trying to think other words that just.
There's a lot.
Yeah, but that bone apple tea subreddit.
That-
Oh man,
that
it
one-
is hilarious.
That bone apple tea thing is so bad that it's not that they have it wrong. They have something that doesn't make any sense at all. They're so far off the point that they're just putting fucking words together because it sounds like what they think. And that's a good example too, because it's a French phrase. So a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the common phrases that we throw around, like je ne sais quoi, you know, these are all things that we've adopted from other
that
languages.
French I don't know what.
Yeah, you know that je ne sais quoi something. It's like, no, it includes something. You don't have to say something.
Right. And again, Oswald brought it up. So I know I know it's very bothersome to some people when they use the incorrect there, or there.
Yeah.
And your.
Yours a bad one.
Yeah. And I just.
It's also people don't use the apostrophe properly.
Right. And that's, again, if you're using it's over there or, hey, that's theirs. Mm-hmm. People will just say it's just interchangeable, right? Yeah. Like no.
I spelled it right.
Yeah, good. You spelled it right, but you used the wrong one.
You know what's really funny to me about language? Words that mean the opposite, but don't mean the original. For instance, unravel. Like you can unravel it, but you can't ravel it. It doesn't exist. I always thought that was really weird. It's like, how can I can be happy, I can be unhappy, but I can't ravel and unravel.
You can't ravel something?
Nope.
That's not a word?
Nope. It might have been in like old, Gaelic or wherever we stole the word from, but it is not a word in English.
So you say I can't ravel the cord back there?
Nope. You cannot. You can try.
Oh, I just did. Fight me.
Well, you rolled it.
Merriam-Webster, fight me.
Yeah, let's get an etymologist from the chat on that one.
Man, I didn't know. I have to look that up now.
Yeah,
See,
I appreciate weird stuff like that, especially trying to learn more Spanish. I see a lot of weird like Latin rules being borrowed and thrown away and like in and out. One example I always use is like in the words that they use can kind of shape the way they think about a topic. Like mm-hmm. in English, we read a book or we learn. These in English they sound very passive. It's not like I'm acquiring knowledge. No, you're just learning. You're just sitting in a classroom going like this. But in Spanish, it's aprender, which is like apprehending the knowledge. I'm taking the knowledge. I'm stealing it for myself. I like that.
Yeah.
How you can words can shape a concept.
I mean, you can still say here, I am acquiring knowledge.
Yeah, but it sounds really pretentious when you say it in English, right?
It's fine. That's when
Who can be pretentious.
Exactly. That's when you fix your tie, push up your glasses.
We're on the internet. It's so funny. In every anime, there's always that guy that's like, oh shit, if he pushes up his glasses, it's going down.
Ravel. Definition of ravel.
No, come on.
An act or result of raveling, such as something is tangled. Something is raveled out.
Okay, I am going to go out on a flimsy branch and say that, especially in the internet age, the way we use language...
That was from Urban Dictionary, I mean.
The way that we use language becomes the language a lot of the time, like Homer Simpson adding dough to the dictionary. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that nobody has said ravel for 200 years. Even if it's a word, it's not a word anymore. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm on the internet. I'm an authority.
You're gonna be that person that I talked about a few episodes back, where I was just like, nope, you can't change my mind.
I'm gonna ask everyone in the chat and you. Have you ever heard anyone say the word ravel?
I did. I just did.
No,
I literally just before. Did. I'm sure. I
have all convinced before you Googled. That means I'm right. Argument from authority.
I'm pretty sure that I've heard my father use that term before about something. Again, some chord.
Well, maybe
to ravel up some chords.
Maybe that was a bad example, but I know there are words out there that function in the way that I have presented.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they are.
I just can't think of it.
That's why they say the English language is pretty much the hardest one to learn.
Yeah.
Because it's just even the spelling I before E except after C and look at
in some ways,
other words.
It's really bad because we've borrowed so much, but in some ways, it's really easy because we'll have one word fit 50 uses like that. And in Spanish, it would be like, how many people are doing it? Are they male or female? There's all these different rules you have to follow, but in English, it's just like, it's just I am angry. I am sad. I was there. Tense doesn't matter. Company doesn't matter. We just put that tool in every tool belt, and it's fine. I like that our language does that.
Yeah, exactly, and exactly. Osbug, the whole I before E except after C, weird, and it's just
rules are meant to be broken.
But there are exceptions. Yeah. Here's all the exceptions. It's like, what?
I always think it's funny when people go so hard on someone where English isn't their first language, where they'll like pluralize something. Like I am's tired. It's like, yeah, that might sound stupid to you being an English speaker, but it makes perfect sense in their language.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now that's a bad example, but just the fact that they know two languages at all is like, you should be tipping your hat to them and not being like, get out of my country.
Yeah, it's I mean,
one of the weirdest things I saw in Europe is you would be at like McDonald's and the lowliest, fry cook at McDonald's speaks like 4 languages. You're like, Must be nice.
I mean, my parents they speak both. They speak two languages. So more power to them. I only speak the one, and I speak it poorly. So shit.
I always heard that when I was like living in Spanish areas, working at Spanish jobs, auto shops, grocery stores, or whatever. You would always hear the parents go, "My son doesn't want to learn Spanish. It's so sad. Like the new generation, they're not learning it."
I didn't want to,
Yeah.
and
my parents didn't speak it. I'm like 5th generation Spanish or something. I don't even know a Spanish speaker in my family other than myself.
Yeah, and I'm
pretty bad. I'm like 2 years high school, 2 years college, a little bit of practice at work for like 10 years, but it's also very subjective. Like I know the word for bread, but I can't make a good sentence. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, but it's still useful. People appreciate the effort. I've actually often met people who speak Portuguese because they're from Brazil, and being in Orlando, Brazil is one of the like destinations. Obviously, the world wants to go to Orlando, but Brazil specifically has very strong ties to Orlando. So at IKEA or other places, I'd run into Brazilian people, and we would both speak broken Spanish to each other and meet in the middle, and we'd both be sweating, but we'd figure it out. It feels good. It's like, thank you for making the effort.
Yeah, we have like a lot of people that, again, being in Orlando, we have a lot of people that stop at our dojo that are visiting from Spain, Venezuela, Argentina, places like that. And I'm just like, it's very interesting that
I wonder what the martial arts culture is like in other languages. I wonder what the dating culture is like in other countries too.
I know that a lot of European countries, they are big into what I do, the Kyokushin. But then also Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we get a lot of Brazilians that come in.
To me, the words Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian are like joined at the hip. Just like one always follows the other.
Yeah. And Artemis says, fun fact, people from Spain consider themselves white. I've heard, I have actually heard them before that.
Well, Spaniards are the original white men. When they were like, run, the white men are coming with guns, they were talking about Spanish people.
Yeah, well, because they, and I made a joke in Red Lionhead stream. Or no, Red Lionhead was in my stream, and I made a joke. It's like, I think I said something to the effect of, I'm not European, I'm Spanish. And I stopped. I continued playing bass, and then I was waiting for it. I was like, I hope he didn't catch it. And then he called me out, and I'm like, fuck. He called me out on it.
But I think it's important for people to remember that white isn't a race. Like, Irish pride, cool. Boston pride, cool. All these other prides are cool, but when you say white, it's like, it's first of all, it's a color, and it's very subjective. When someone's, Native American sees a Spanish man, they're like, that man's white. But when we see a guy with a tan, we're like, he's not white. I'm whiter than him. You know? So, welcome to the chat, Brower. By the way, I know that guy.
You know Artemis?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a. Yeah, I mean, I've met some Spaniards, and some of the Spaniards are actually, as light
Cuban
as you.
People are very white too. And then it's also funny because within a different culture, you have your own version of racism. Like in Dominican Republic, there's the white people, and then there's the really dark skinned Dominican Republics, and the white people are like, yeah, those baseball playing darkies. They have their own brand of Hispanic racism there. I mean, even in the black community, they're like, oh, that light skinned black girl gets all the roles.
Well, I think that goes for any group of people. You have. It doesn't matter.
It's really bad in soccer playing countries. In Italy, they're super, super racist. And the irony being they're importing people from Africa to play soccer.
Are you saying that just because of that's what you see from the outside? You're not looking at
I mean,
on the inside in here. I mean, you can't white people here being kind of somewhat racist against white people. Other white people here?
Well, I think the tragedy that's happening in American politics right now is that we have been convinced to always blame down. So the middle class is one section of the middle class is blaming poor black people, and one section of the middle class is blaming poor white people. And the divide and conquer goal is for none of us to blame upward. If we make fun of rednecks and they make fun of black people, then nobody's looking at the people who can actually make policy changes.
I guess that'll be right there. You have the white people. It's a certain group of white people looking at the redneck white people.
Well, that's one thing. The poor is the main the main ideology is everyone should blame the poor. The poor are responsible for all the problems. Not really. They don't really. Entitlements is such a small portion of our budget that, like, if there's a problem,
I think we're edgy on politics there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just end it with, if education isn't getting funded, it's not because of a single mom, trying to feed her kids. It's just not.
But yeah. Well, I'm trying to think about where the hell this went to.
No, it's from him in the chat.
The language we're going on with the language.
Own, social divides.
Talking about the weird rules and how people interpret it because the foreign languages. Trying to think, like, I don't know of any other pet peeves really or anything like that. I know that's what was the original topic.
We'll open it up to the chat while we bounce the ball around.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you have? What do you have in store for today?
Nothing.
You didn't come here with anything.
I mean, we can talk about that game I got. It's pretty awesome.
No, they're not gonna talk about the game that you got. You're the only person playing it.
Do you ever buy games for people that you only know through the internet?
I bought Ostbug a DLC for Rocksmith
because you wanted to play it with him.
No, you don't get to play with each other.
But you kind of do if you're like streaming and screen sharing and all.
No, I bought a DLC that had a few what they call rockabilly songs. So I bought that, and then
did you know rockabilly is huge in Japan? There's like a rockabilly subculture.
I believe it. There's a lot of rock, the subculture over there.
Japan's always very interesting to me because
but
they go super hard into something for like 6 months and then it's gone.
But yeah, I bought a rockabilly pack and Osbug came into my stream and was like, oh man, the rockabilly pack's pretty cool. So his next stream, I bought it and sent it to him, and I requested one of the songs from there. And I don't buy a whole lot of stuff for people. I bought you that Layers of Fear.
That was super awesome, by the way.
I bought you Layers of Fear.
They have a new game that Observer, I think it's called. I'm probably going to get real soon. Yeah. But the reason I ask is because Artemis in chat, I just pretty much know the game that made me late today, just to learn the tutorial. I know that I'm probably going to end up buying it for him just so we can play it. And I don't really, if it's a $15 game or a $9 game, I just don't really care.
Yeah.
There's lots of times in my life. First of all, like you said, it's always in terms of burgers. It's 1 burger, 2 burgers. How many burgers is this going to cost me? Okay. But also, I'll go like 2 weeks pinching every penny, planning everything super carefully, and then my wife will like blow $50 of my money, and I'm like, I've specifically not been buying a $50 thing for 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm buying a $50 thing just because of this. Just because we had this conversation. It's the same thing with that camera. I've been like holding off, like reading reviews, waiting, and then I was like, no, I'm buying a new camera.
Right.
We can use it for other things. It's always going to be useful. I'm doing it. So happy birthday, Brower.
Yeah, he was talking about it. He said, Avorion, is that the game?
It's pretty sweet.
But yeah, also
there's other recommendations I wanted to make too. We talked about music one of our first episodes, and I've been kind of like exploring my back catalog of progressive metal.
And then you've been
weird shit.
And then you've been
chat, you got to hear this song.
You've been opening up your mind to more music rather than just hating everything, right?
Totally.
Like Hyper Crush.
Yeah, Hyper Crush. Did
you listen to it?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay.
I'm almost finished with Try Again.
But before we go on. Talk about the Japanese, that big thing in there. Apparently, have a big cholo, a cholo community.
That's news to me. I know a lot about Japan through my wife.
I did not know about the cholo thing. I've seen their whole death metal scene. The death metal scene. Yeah, the Lolita scene. I've seen
Harajuku district.
Right. Well, I mean, the Lolita Harajuku kind of goes together, but I've seen their death metal scene. I've seen their rockabilly scene because the whole pompadours. Yeah, the space.
I tried to get Christina into Space Dandy. She wouldn't bite.
Oh, I love it.
I'll have to watch it on my own.
I love Space Dandy. I mean, obviously, I love Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo. Mm-hmm. Anything he puts out, Watanabe, anything he puts out, I fucking love. But
my recommendation of music was a lot like Birds. It's like a prog. I don't know how to explain them. Like screamy prog, but it has crazy ideas that sometimes just works together so well, and then sometimes just doesn't.
Yeah, and obviously they have some interesting things. Fletch brought up their panty vending machine.
Yeah, a lot of people know about that now.
Yeah, they have a lot of interesting things going on over there. But hey.
And then
again,
in one of my Discords the other day, we went down this rabbit hole of all the weird sexually flavored subcultures in Japan. There's teenage girls like whoring themselves out as escorts to sugar daddies, basically. So
Well,
they'll be like,
how's that any different than here?
yeah, but it's different. It's almost like diet prostitution, and there's no pimps involved.
How's that
yeah,
any
but
different?
there's
here?
no pimps involved. It's like
Cut.
self-actuated, self-motivated.
Because they're on Tinder and stuff like that. They're looking for
I guess it's the same.
looking for sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship. Nothing
it's for
serious.
Sure the same lane, like selling your youth and healthy sexuality of being a young teen girl to.
Right, but again, like you said, it's a prostitution light because they're not actually going through with any kind of sexual favors or anything like that.
And there's no pimp, there's no most of the time there's no pimp.
So there's no difference here.
It's weird that like such a respectful and straight-laced culture with such strong tradition and honor and family values would have such weird sexual things going on. Like host clubs is another thing. Have you heard about the host clubs?
Host clubs.
So imagine a bar where there's like a Hooters thing going on where they're trying to work their looks and their outfits to get tips and stuff. Yeah. But there's male and female, and they're like pop star good looking. Like,
oh yes, I have heard of that.
They have like glamour shots, and you get to pick who you want to spend the night with. And they not spend the night like sleep with, but spend the evening with, and they talk you into buying like $2,000 bottles of wine and stuff, and the subculture starts to grow. I'm sure that you're familiar with your Disney annual passes of the fan clubs for like the live shows where it's the same people go to see it every day, and they're like, man, Jim the Beetlejuice actor really did a good job today. It's like,
how dare you just say Beetlejuice with Disney?
I don't know.
No.
I worked at Universal, so that's what's in my head.
Exactly.
So exactly. That's what was in my head. But
how dare you?
So, anyways, these hosts have these gaggles of people that are basically like in love with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The same kind of thing of Instagram, like you said, where they're like, "What do you mean we're not going to get together? What do you mean you're married? I gave you $3,000." It's the same thing. Every day spend all their money.
It's the same thing here. We don't have I guess we do. Like you just said, you brought up the example of Hooters. You find a bartender, waitress, host,
she
person,
has a gaggle of people that go there to see her.
That you want to see all the time. You're like, oh, is so and so working? Can I get her table? Yeah, and then, oh, hey, sweetie, touching your arm and all, and then that's, of course, they are in the service industry. They are giving you attention because they want a better tip.
Because the host thing to me seems specifically twisted because like Instagram booby girl or whatever, it's whatever. She's working, she's taking pictures, she's not hurting anybody. Who cares? But these host people, they're drinking themselves to death every night. Their fans are drinking themselves to death every night. Everybody's depressed. Everybody has like a surrogate romance that's
different. It's not different.
Well, it's not. You don't.
Yeah, I don't think it's different. I don't think it's different.
There's something very intimate of like selling your face-to-face personal time, where you kind of build this black hole where there's less and less of you that's yours that you've kept to yourself. You've sold your sex. You've sold your social.
So when I used to work downtown, I used to go to a restaurant that was down the road from where I worked, and I would go there.
Girls in the Swings?
What?
Oh, I thought you were trying not to name a place, and I was like, is it the one with the girls in the swings?
No.
Oh, okay.
What?
Never mind.
The fuck? Jesus Christ! No, I don't know what kind of places you're going to, but no, I would go to the same restaurant all the time, and I would sit at the bar if a certain girl was working, only because
she was cool.
Yeah, exactly. Because I enjoyed the conversations that I had with her. Mm-hmm. How is that any different than somebody going to a bar like that? You say a host bar, and they're enjoying the company of this person.
Saying. There probably is. That's probably the majority of the people. But the reason I saw it and the reason it was like newsworthy and clickbait worthy is because of how they were exposing the awful side of it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that, like you said, that's the majority. But the people who've been there for years and years and they're like having liver problems and can't date because they have this weird job that makes them kind of like untrustworthy, untouchable socially.
Right, but Artemis just brought up, I think the difference is that the whole reason for going there is for the people. So, I mean,
I just don't like when things get cheapened.
I think again to my thing, I think that it's no different between here and what's going on in Japan with these host bars. Because again, some people may choose a specific bar just for that specific bartender. They may choose a specific restaurant just because of that specific host or waiter or waitress.
It seems like there's an exploitation factor too.
But I think that what you're trying to say, it is different if they're playing on the whole. Here's a menu of man meat or lady meat.
Also,
now choose the one that you want to sit with.
The girl who does Instagram, she's doing it on her own. She's a kind of an independent business owner in a way, and she's not being forced to do it, and she's not victimizing people through her business. But there's something where when you start to feed a human need, there's a certain sense of like exploitation. Like loot boxes exploit people who have gambling addiction, and host clubs exploit people who are socially isolated, who are unable to, unsuccessful in relationships, and they form unhealthy attachments to people that they're paying to spend time with. That's where it starts to become like really depressing to me. It's like, this is really bad. This isn't a chat room. This is someone hanging out with you in person who has no interest in you and is just taking all your money every day.
But people, like you said, they're sad, they're sad, they're lonely, and they just want some companionship, even if it's for a couple hours. And I don't think that it's any different here and there. The only exception that I think is, like I said, is like if you said where it's here's a menu of all the women and all the men choose who you want to be with.
People who are not just the customers or guests or whatever you want to call them, but the people who are working there are miserable too, because they have to push drinking on these people. Like that's how they're making their money.
Obviously,
so
you're gonna try to service them
every single night.
You're gonna try to service a person the best you can. That's no different than a bartender here.
But the bartenders mostly don't drink. Well, don't drink to excess.
I'm about to say, have you been downtown?
Yeah, bullshit. There's always like, I'm gonna buy a shot and I'm gonna buy one for you too, sweet cheeks. Come on, do a shot with me.
Exactly. I have been downtown so many times, and I've just sat back with my drink and I just watched people. I'm gonna buy you a shot. Yeah. You take it with me, honey. Let's do it.
So this guy that I went to high school with, his brother was a bartender. And he would drive home shit drunk every night. Oh, yeah. And one night he passed out at the wheel with his arm on the door, casually hanging or whatever, and veered up to the guardrail and flayed his arm, all the meat off of his arm that way. So that's when I see these things, I always tend to look at the worst. It's like, yeah, that's bad news. Absolutely. Like tips are great, I'm sure that if you're selling $2,000 bottles, these guys are making like six figures, even though the cost of living is extraordinarily high in Japan. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself like what the cost is. Is my life really good?
Yeah, but and I know that
I always say like these good-looking people that make money off being good-looking, like more power to you. If you can make it happen, then make it happen.
And then you got us that look like thumbs.
Average, above average, maybe. I would say above average, but past our prime. So like some people like that lane. Like my wife said something to me about being attractive the other day, and she said love your guts, and I was like, and my gut, and she was like, yeah, it's you, and I was like, I'm a dad bod already, and I'm not even a dad, but yeah, some people like that. Dad bod is definitely like a popular look.
I'm trying, like I said, I'm just trying to think of like other like you're talking about these fetishes that are in Japan
like
or
exploitation fetishes.
No, I'm trying to think is that
tentacles is a weird one.
Well, I think that obviously Japan created anime, Japan created manga, and that's why it's connected to them. I'm sure that somebody here in the good old America drew something up like that too.
Well, it's not the fetish itself that perplexes me. It's the industry that grows around the fetish. It's like baddragon.com, like animal inspired dildos. It's like, that's wild. I mean, good on you for being an entrepreneur, but like, why at the same time? Like humping pillows, Daidaki Makuro pillows. It's like started as a joke. It was something you gave to someone at a company event to embarrass them. Yeah. And then it became like, I like the booby girl pillow, like.
I mean that's how I don't want to go too into the conversation with that, just because there's some weird things I'm just like.
Well, okay. I think the answer, if you don't understand why the answer was always because it's fucked up. Like,
No,
why do you like that thing? It's fucked up, and then they're like, that's why.
No, because again, just let them enjoy it. Once you start when you start rubbing it in my face, start imposing things, then we have a problem.
Right.
But like I said, the only thing that I have a problem with are that group of incels we had the conversation. We had the conversation already.
We're definitely an anti-incel program.
Yeah. Well, no, I was.
Well, these last couple attacks, they're almost exclusively incel driven. Like the stabbing spree in Sydney.
We're not going to talk about these things.
Well,
we're
I'm not talking about it in a political way. I'm just saying.
No.
A lot of these sprees start out with a guy killing a girl and then going crazy.
But you can't lump the whole. You can't lump the whole group of them as one.
I'm talking about two of four.
There are a group of those, extremists. Alex said they say every woman should be raped and stuff like that. Those are the people that I fucking hate.
Sure.
But then there's the ones, the incels that they just kept to themselves and whatever. You live your life peacefully.
I think self definition is the problem, right? If you self define yourself as an incel and you go to incel forums and you make this part of your character, you're not doing yourself any favors. If the problem is not, looking good to the opposite sex, then identifying as an incel is not going to help that problem.
Yeah, but I don't know. It is. But as far as weird Japanese things, I don't know. I'm not too. I mean, as much as I am in like the Japanese culture, as far as with my martial arts and my affinity for
it's just
Japanese culture, I don't know too much about the weird stuff.
Yeah.
So
have you heard about coin locker babies?
What?
So
what?
There's no abortion in Japan, or extreme lack of access to abortion in Japan. So the equivalent of the coat hanger abortion is to have the baby and then leave it in a coin operated locker in a public place like a subway or whatever, and then someone will eventually hear it crying or not, and it'll die, and then the authorities will
I've never heard about that.
The locker. Yeah, it's like a huge
Wow.
thing. It just I hear it's funny that we're talking about this today because we were just talking about it going down the whole in chat the other day. It's like Japan is like the pressure cooker of like where America could be in 100 years if overpopulation continues, if all these social problems continue. Like this is what's at the end of the road of like. So
yes, Spaghetti Boy just brought up just the idea of an incel is stupid, as you're putting the blame onto somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are the and I talked about this in a few episodes ago where I have only one view of incels, but I know it's not all of them. The incels that I see are just because
vocal, angry.
Exactly the vocal ones, the ones that people post on Reddit, like screenshots of like their conversations that are like, this Chad, blah blah blah, screw this, she should be raped, and it's like those group of ones.
They attract the spotlight.
Exactly, they attract the spotlight. I'm sure that I can't.
I see what you're saying. We should have empathy for people who are unsuccessful.
But like there are the incels that it could just be again, which I talked about before. Barring any kind of like mental issues, something like that, I'm sure that there are some that they're celibate because they don't want to be, but they want to try to improve themselves. Yeah. So we
to me, it's definitely a waste of energy to be in these incel forums participating in this like group think, this echo chamber of women are evil, like you said, women deserve this and this and that. And there's also a certain, like you said, shifting blame. It's a very like mommy's little angel mentality to me, that it's like mommy says I'm perfect, it can't be my fault.
Exactly.
I am a catch.
It could be they were just coddled too long, and or again they're just socially inept because of whatever situation in their life, and then and then they can't do it. And there was a post on Reddit that I saw that somebody said that they were an incel, and then they actually reached out and they helped him out, and now he's getting married.
Like the incel community helped him out?
No, well, not.
It doesn't seem like a helpful community.
I'm not sure if it was the incel community or if it was the people on Reddit, I can't really say he or she, but the incel reached out to somebody, some sort of forum or something like that, and then they helped him out. They helped them out to become more sociable, like work on their
sexuality
skills.
Is an important part of your identity, so having a problem there is probably a big problem. But I feel like when women decide to like drop out of romantic relationships and become a cat lady or a spinster, I feel like to some degree they're kind of cool with that. They're like, this is what I'll do then, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's an equivalent for a man. You know what I mean? It seems very, in our culture, very strongly tied to like being masculine, being a sexual hunter, being, you know, that there's no like, I'm just gonna be a cool guy bachelor until I'm in my 60s. You know, it's not it's not equivalent. I don't see the back door out. And a lot of people, when they take this back door of like being angry, blaming other people, it's definitely not productive. You know, but there's no secret. They're not gonna like break the code by, you know, getting those chads. It's not gonna make them like succeed by.
But you know, again, that's the large community that I see because
is it really large?
I wouldn't say it's large.
Like
I don't know.
People. Yeah.
I don't know because I don't know how big this incel community is, but I just see the screenshots that people post
the worst
from because you know they're like undercover that they're trying to share this stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of that too. It's hard to gauge because there's people that are there just for the shit show, and there's people that are trolls that just like whip up. It's the same thing as flat Earth. It's like, are there really that many flat earthers, or are there just a bunch of people who are trying to like say something outrageous to get other people to like say even more outrageous shit.
And then to the Japan thing, Spaghetti Boy also said Dave, when we were talking last night about Japan is the best look into what a post-industrial America will look like in 100 years.
Yeah, if nothing changes. Yeah, if you know, lack of natural resources, overpopulation, lack of opportunity, you know, social decay, just a lot of factors all together in this small space, you know, boiling. I'm not saying they don't do anything. I'm sure they do a lot, you know, as a culture to maintain a healthy society. They do have like strong family values, strong traditions.
But I think you're looking too much into just the city. You're looking just
probably.
You're looking too much into just Japan.
Obviously, I have no interest in like a rural, you know.
You're not looking outside of.
And only the worst shit too is like what I'm seeing because that's the most, you know, click worthy.
Right, exactly. That it's the most clickbait worthy because you're just like, oh my god,
I can't believe it.
Exactly,
well,
but
my wife also buys a lot of books, and like the books aren't like half of the books are like, here's why Japan is great. Well, let's say a third of the books are here's why Japan is great and here's what you should see in Japan. A third of the books are if you want to live in Japan, here's what you need to know and how things will be different and the hurdles you have to face. And the third thing is like, holy shit, look what's going on in Japan. You know, like the panties thing. I feel like a lot of people know the panties thing. It came out, you know, 10 or 15 years ago in some post, and then everyone saw it and talked about it, and now. Like a lot of people, especially in the circles, we're gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
And I watch a lot of. So one of the TVs at my work is always on NHK.
Mm-hmm. My wife always leaves on NHK when she's like cooking or.
And I see a whole lot of.
What is it like? Hong Kong news or something? NHK? What's that? Do you know what the acronym is? Nippon.
Yeah. Do you know what Nippon is?
It's Japan.
Exactly. So why'd you get Hong Kong from Nippon?
I don't know. For some reason, I thought of the HK first. And also, my wife watches a lot of weird news. She watches Hawaii News Now.
Oh yeah, good shit.
Yeah, she watches a lot of external news, so I have to kind of like pause and think.
Right,
which one is that one?
And NHK is Japan. Is Japan's pretty much their biggest.
But yet it's also largely in English.
But they have. I mean, the stuff that I watch is just subtitled because you know, like I said, they have it on one of the TVs at work, and I'll catch it.
Why do you think?
I can't talk about that. Why it's on at work. I can't talk about it.
That's fine.
But they have they show a lot of the fish the fish farmers, a lot of the rice farmers. Right. I see a lot of the stuff that's outside of just the
city.
And you know, because you know, you may see all the stuff from Kyoto, you might see all the stuff from Tokyo, but you don't see like. Even Okinawa is an island, you know, further south and stuff, and it's so far separated. There's a big military base there.
The built island you're talking about?
No, it's not built island.
I thought you were going from it. From Okinawa to this.
No. In Okinawa, but even there's still, you know, lots of farmland there. So again, you see only the stuff that's only the city.
I'm kind of a city. I love nature. I love, you know. To a certain extent, I love archery. I love hiking, all that stuff. But I am a city boy largely. Like when I think of going to other countries, I'm not going like the city where my last name comes from. I don't want to say it online because the same as you. I don't want to dox myself. But
Smith.
The city where Smith.
My last name's Smith.
Let's say that all Spanish names end in señorita. So like, or Ita, Smithita.
Yeah.
In my last name, the city that name came from is like, you have to take a plane to another city, take a 4-hour bus, climb a mountain. It's like in the middle of nowhere. I have no interest in that life. I want to see what their what's shaking, what their music industry is like, what their what the scene is like in other countries. So that doesn't largely involve being in rural areas. Although I'm sure that there's a lot of it's the same in the U.S. Rural life is very different from city life. Rural politics are very different from city politics.
And I've told my parents, it's like, my goal is I would love to just move and live in Japan.
Yeah.
And I would love to just be outside in the city.
It's hard though. Oh, outside of the city?
Outside the city.
Okay,
I would love to just, have a simple life. I don't know.
Honestly,
I don't know if I'd be able to make it as a farmer or whatever.
I have that in me too, that like,
but I would like a simple life just like that.
I know a lot of like friends of the family and friends of friends of friends who have just like checked out and gotten some like beach island of like 100 square acres and just been like
a beach island that you have friends like that. They're like, let's just here we go, just stacks on stacks on stacks.
That's the absolute, that's not the average. That's the absolute highest of friends that I know. But the medium is like someone who has like a shack on a beach that's like no rent.
Right.
Hippie. I have a lot of friends who are hippies who live in like Denver, who have just checked out of like the regular grind, who went from being accounting majors to being like subsistence farmers.
Well, I've had friends that have actually just sold everything, packed up, and moved across the country. And
I have a friend of a friend who has a pool that the pool level is chicken wire where they raise chickens. And the under level of the water, they raise fish. It's like a self-contained ecology thing where they get all the food they need, and it's like a full-time job just running this farm and having chicken and fish and plants and stuff.
And I don't want to say anybody could do that, but
I definitely have that in me. The tiny house, like
a lot of people can just, if, and I've said it. I think I only said it on my Instagram, where it was like, if you're not happy with your situation, you are in full control, barring family, you have a family situation that's like, oh, I cannot leave because my children or
I'm
whatever.
Definitely like more free than a lot of people right now. No kids, very little family.
But exactly.
Do you keep a bug out bag?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, I kind of have like a diet bug out bag.
But it's like I wouldn't say there's not much stopping me, but for right now where I'm at, I'm happy here. But yeah, I could sell my house, sell my car, quit my job,
I
and
like
just
to keep my life
portable, and just go. I mean, I don't even really need to sell my house. Say I leave my house to my parents, since they're here, they can maintain the house for me, and I just take I could rent it out and just take the profit. But I would say in a few years, I would like to just up everything, just uproot myself, and just make roots somewhere else.
I'm down with you too. We have plans. We've looked at Australia. Yeah. We've looked at lots of different things.
Just to live a Spaghetti Boy said that he basically did the same thing when he joined the Navy, and a lot of people. My brother did the same thing when he joined the Navy. That they stationed him up in Washington State. But I mean, I think that's different in a sense, because the military is telling you this is where your next duty is. This is where there's no
wiggle room there.
Exactly. I mean, you can. My father, he wanted to stay in Hawaii, but my mom didn't want to, so he tried to get them to move him to the States, and then
he was in the Navy also.
No, he was in the Marines, but I think it's similar, but also different, because at least you have something established there. You're in the Navy, you have a career and all that. If I were to uproot my life here to move to Japan,
right away,
I would need to figure out my life. Sure, I could come over with a couple $1,000s, but how far will that get me?
I have a friend who's moving to Japan right now. He's lived there before. He's taught there before. And
that's the whole thing with a lot of these actors, a lot of these singers, they have dreams. They're like, oh, I want to move west. Because
get a horse ranch.
no,
No,
they get a horse ranch. What?
Some of them do, some of them that's like their end game. It's like, yeah, I'm an actor, but
No.
when
I'm
I
just
retire,
I'm just
talking something.
I'm just talking about these. I would say amateur, but like the whole story with Ed Sheeran. I don't listen to Ed Sheeran, but I heard a story. I heard a story about him. Like he pretty much just dropped out of high school because he knew that he wanted to pursue music. Moved out west, crashed on somebody, I forgot whose couch, but Jamie Foxx's couch, I believe, because something about he saw him performing and he had nothing. Same thing with I guess Jared Leto kind of had like the same story is that his like when his mom was when they were very young, his mom moved out west from Mississippi just to give them a better life. Yeah. But a lot of aspiring actors and actresses, they're like, well, there's nothing for me here. I got to move to. Got to
go where the action is.
I got moved to exactly. I got moved to LA. Got moved to New York. And what did they do? They go over with a couple $100 cash.
Yeah. The joke is that they all work at Starbucks. Like it's uncanny how many of them like get their first role while they're working at a Starbucks. Or Megan Fox was a waitress, I think, in Florida.
Yeah. Was she?
I think so. If I'm not mixing stories, pretty sure she got discovered from waiting tables. I think the guy who did the voice.
Sorry, we're playing footsies down here. Sorry, guys.
No handies today, just footsies.
Yeah. God damn.
Anyways, the guy who did the voice for Spike on the American dub, I think he was like, I want to say he was at a laundromat or something. I don't remember.
Yeah,
something really just out there.
And there's just been a whole bunch of people that I had one. Well, I want to say. It was a friend of an ex that she was saying that she swore up and down that she was going to move to New York. And she said, I have this date. I'm moving to New York because she wanted to do some, I want to say acting, modeling. Dance, I'm not sure what it was.
You know if it worked out or not?
No, because she never moved.
Oh.
I don't talk to her. I said, she was a friend of an ex, but a lot of people do that and they either
bloom where you're planted.
They either, like I said, they go over there with just a couple $100, couple $1,000 in their pocket and see how long that goes. Or people, they kind of, like I said, they kind of figure things out. Oh, okay, I need to move to LA. Well, I need to get a job. I need to make this much money. I need to stay in this area.
I'm definitely low maintenance. Like I've lived on couches. When I was in college, I basically lived in people's common rooms and Andrew's dorm and
that's what ends. I don't know what the number is, but I see a lot of that where people end up sleeping in their cars, sleeping on the streets because they don't have anything else. And like I said, they go over with the last $500 into their name because they sold the rest of their earthly possessions except for the old Geo Metro and the guitar.
Yeah, and
they want to make it, and they're following their passion. So.
Do you have a passion that might move you to geographically? I mean, obviously, music is like something I would have moved for. But to me, when I think of like bugging out and leaving this life behind for a simple life, I think of like tiny house in the mountains. I forget which pro skier, snowboarder it is, but he basically has a little like one-room cabin on top of a mountain. Yeah. That's basically he owns all the property. There's like a glass wall, a stone shower, a sink, and an oven, and he just like wakes up. Eats breakfast, gets on a snowboard, and goes down his mountain. It's just like
for me, the passion is there any whatever country is okay with me dressing as a chicken?
Yeah,
that's my passion. No,
Chick-fil-A.
No, but for me, I would love to do something with music. I would love to do something with programming. Maybe I don't know. I hate programming for a career because that's what I do now.
Touring now, like I did diet touring or whatever, and it was all right. But like the older I get, the more I'm like, I do not want to live in a bus.
Could I tour? I mean, I enjoy traveling. That's what I do now, pretty much for my fights.
It's not glamorous. It's not like seeing the sights.
For my fights, I go. Yeah. I don't. I leave Friday morning. I come back Sunday night. So it's not glamorous at all. But I'm going from Florida on Friday to fly to New Jersey to catch a flight to New York to fight.
To punch each other to death
Exactly.
and then fly back.
To fight,
Yeah.
to fly back to New Jersey to Florida.
Yeah.
And I'm just there for, Friday,
Okay, so you know what I mean.
Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday. Or
Because I've been to DC, but they're like, "Oh, did you see this?" I'm like, "No, I literally saw the inside of a hotel room."
Right, exactly.
That's
And
it.
the most was the last tournament that I went to, I wasn't fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I was there representing our dojo, but like me and my father, we were representing our dojo, and we got to see some of the sites because I didn't have to worry about
a schedule.
I didn't have to worry about stretching. I didn't have to worry about not hurting myself or anything like that. But I have a fight coming up in October, and again, it's the same thing. I'm leaving Friday night. I'm leaving Friday at like 5 a.m. weighing in, going back to the hotel just to hang out to fight Saturday.
Yeah,
To fly back
that's a lot.
Sunday morning.
Jet lag is bad enough. I can't imagine like being beat silly and then having being on a plane like. Nah.
There was once that. Well, I guess it was different. It was last year Christmas. I went to New York. I went to Washington, so that's square across the United States to go see my brother, and it was a straight flight from Florida to Washington State. Hung out there for about 5 days. Flew back. That's another 5. That's another.
7 hours, 6 hours.
I would say so. So it was like a 4-hour flight there. Well, no. Yeah. It's about a 4-hour flight up there and about 5.5, 6-hour flight back because headwind and tailwind. But then I was in Florida for less than 24 hours, and I had to fly to Virginia.
I mean, it sounds like
to
fun, but
spend 1 day there to fly back.
see, that's almost. I had an offer to do that for like a traveling gun show.
Yeah.
So basically, I would never be home for like almost like a truck driver, 6 months at a time, hotel rooms,
Yeah.
planes like that. And it was good money, but I was like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, and so now I'm just catching up on the chat. Fletch brought up a lot of people in San Francisco that work in the tech industry living in their vans. Well, that's
a cost of living, right?
that's an interesting thing. Yeah, exactly. It's a cost of living thing. I have I had a friend. I wouldn't really consider him a friend because we haven't talked in I don't know how many years. He and I were working at the same place. He got a job at Facebook, LinkedIn. I can't remember what it was, but he was talking about it was in San Francisco. He was going to be making $120,000 a year because you're telling me $120,000 in Florida money. I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, man. You know how much I could buy with that?
Yeah, right.
But then he moved there and he was talking to me about it. He's like, oh yeah, I have pretty much a 2-bedroom apartment that's split between 5 people because the cost of living is just so high.
Yeah. And B&Bs don't help. They buy up everything and rent it all out.
And that's the thing. People do that, and it's exactly. I know that's a huge issue now with Silicon Valley that they're trying to fix because people are lining the streets in their RVs and in their vans and stuff like that.
There's also a homeless drug addiction problem too. Not just people with jobs that live in their vans, but just people who live on the street in general.
Yeah, and for me, I would love to. I'm honestly okay with
like an RV.
Not RV, but being mobile, moving around. If let's say some miracle happens and I become a good bassist, guitarist, whatever.
Sure.
Zeus empowers me and he's like, here you go, Robbi.
What's that movie where the Beatles songs aren't written and he's just like, the Beatles wrote this. You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't seen that.
The plot is that he's playing a Beatles song on an acoustic guitar at a party and everyone is spellbound. They're like,
oh yeah, Fern Gully.
Freaking I love that movie, by the way. It's like everyone's spellbound. They're like, did you write that? And he's like, no, the Beatles did. And they're like, who? And he's like, what? And he just re-releases all the Beatles songs because they've magically disappeared or something. So he becomes super famous.
And if something like that would happen, I think that I would be. I would say it depends on family situations and all that. Do I have a family? But
I would be a jet setter.
I would be okay because, like I said, I do it now between tournaments where I have to drive. If I have a fight down in Miami, I have to drive 3 hours down south to drive back up. I have a fight in New York, LA, wherever the hell the fight's at. I have to go over there. I'm going to Japan in November. So like I said, so I have October I'm going to New York, like I said, for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But then in November, I'm flying from here to Hawaii to train in Hawaii, to go to Japan to watch a tournament, train over there, and
That's a
come
lot.
straight.
I'm losing track. I'm just
and
kinda
come
like,
back.
what? That's a lot.
So I was like, yeah, it's a lot. But again, I am okay with that. I'm okay with
I'm
traveling
okay with it to a
like
certain
that.
extent. Like every time we've gone on vacation or gone on a long road trip, we
Yeah.
were going down to Miami and to the Keys, and we met a couple at a pizza place where they were like, yeah, we just took our boat down here. They're just on their boat for like 6 months at a time, or on their RV for 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
But me, mostly, I think I could do like, not necessarily the moving thing, but like the tiny house thing where you go to the middle of nowhere, not exactly a hermit, like you're still connected and everything, but like you're just checked out of all this like city traffic.
Yeah, and I know you brought up the thing about the small, tiny house and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the concept of a tiny house.
But you're a collector.
Exactly.
I see.
It's like, you just look over
Yeah.
at my comic books and stuff like
behind the
that.
camera,
I'm a collector, so it's like there's a lot of things.
That's something I've cut out of my life completely. Every song, video, movie I own is all digital.
All right.
I have no. Every time
Could I?
it's just clothes.
Because I'm looking around at my action figures and stuff that I have behind the camera, and I could make a good amount of money on all my action figures.
Mm-hmm.
I have some that are worth still
Collectible,
still in the
signed,
box,
et cetera.
still in the box that are exactly signed, that could be sold for $200, $300, $400, and I could use that towards something.
Worst case, you're saying it's something you don't want to do, but you can.
Exactly. But again, I like the idea of having a big enough house that I could grow into it as
Grow to
far
your
as
fish tank.
as far as like a family and whatnot.
Sure, yeah. It's
So-
we're that age.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. I'm just trying to see what people are
Yeah,
saying.
I really need to get my freaking fixed.
Yeah, so Spaghetti Boy is saying when I went to Art Center, the COL, I'm not sure what COL means. I'm not sure that's Colorado. Back in 2009, was just stupid. A 2-bedroom apartment was $1,800, and yeah, a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff in Orlando. When I started renting, it was
$700-800. I had a really nice 1-bedroom with a big living room and all the amenities for like $800.
I would say I was living with a roommate. He had 1 bedroom. He had the master bedroom. I had a smaller bedroom, and I think it was $800 total for it was like a 2-bedroom condo.
Nice.
That we were renting, and it was like $800. Now
the same place is like $1,300.
I was renting a 1-bedroom apartment, pretty much across the street from where Caitlin is right now. So right down the road from the old band house. 1-bedroom apartment, $1,100.
That's about right.
And it's just the cost of living keeps going up, and people are charging more and more, especially as UCF grows,
right.
as Full Sail grows, as all these other colleges
The
grow.
B&Bs are largely responsible for this too.
But I'd say that too. But that's why I know, like, if I were ever to rent out my house, I could make a good profit because it would definitely offset my mortgage.
Yeah, we've been in a lot of B&Bs in our vacations or whatever, where the people, it's just like that's their job. They have 1 or 2 properties or 3 properties where they just rent out 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and they sleep in the other ones. And
Artemis, I think I'm not sure if it is LA or not, but I know last time I went to LA. Well, I wouldn't say last time because I've been to LA quite a few times. Again, so we were talking about traveling and stuff. My work, one of my old jobs would send me to LA, and there was 1 month that I would spend 1 week here, 1 week there, 1 week here, 1 week there, 1 week here, 1 week there, and I'll be going
New York, and he basically doesn't stay there. His family's here. He flies down, gives them the money from his work or whatever, and then flies back.
And that's what I would do. But in LA, they have what they call Skid Row, and it's just this one strip, and it's just
tense.
It's just tense, and it's just all tense, all homeless
Seattle's
people,
like that
and
too.
Seattle same way. Hawaii has some of that too. Some of their
Hawaii has a really bad meth problem as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
As no, by where we usually stay, the hotel that we usually stay at, there's a park, and you see just at night just lined up, but then in the morning they're all packing up. And again, that's something, it's people that went to Hawaii because they want to enjoy that
Tropical paradise.
they want to enjoy that laid back life where they could just surf all day. And some people it's just they're just tough on times and they're just stuck. I've heard I've heard stories. Exactly, I've heard stories of people that have flown there and just they can't afford to fly back, so they just end up staying there.
Yeah, I've heard that too. A lot of these documentaries and stuff I've watched obviously is like the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
like meth, heroin. There's a really bad heroin problem in Hawaii. There's
Yeah.
a really bad heroin or opioid problem in most of the states.
Exactly.
Pill mills in Florida.
Fletch. If there was one place I would want to be homeless, it would be Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there. I posted a picture of Hawaii, Kaneohe Bay, and Fletch thought that I was in Hawaii at the same time, and he posted a picture of pretty much the same spot
where you at?
from the same angle.
Yeah.
I was like, that is a weird.
You're not here.
That is weird. But
That's funny. Yeah, a lot of people I know are going to France right now. I went there not that long ago, a year maybe, and everyone's like, "Where did you go? Tell me where to go." And I'm like, "Go to the catacombs." And they're like, "That's expensive, and you have to do it way in advance." I'm like, "My wife did it. I don't know. My sugar mama did it. Sorry, the website was in French. I don't know what it said."
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, it's nice to have a sugar. I mean, she's not that well off, but at least we can travel a little bit.
But wasn't that like I don't know? Yeah. Do you guys have any more trips planned up?
Yeah, we're going to North Carolina before the end of the year. I haven't really seen much of the U.S. I've been to more places overseas than I have been in the U.S.
Yeah, same.
And except when was in a tour bus on the East Coast, and even then I only saw the malls and the hotels.
Right.
Like out in D.C., we had been eating nothing but Cliff Bars for like an entire day because we didn't want to stop and we were trying to save money. So by the time I got to D.C., there was like nothing in my stomach but like granola concrete. So I couldn't shit for like 2 days. And I didn't get to see any of the monuments, anything. I was literally just in a hotel, either hoping for death or worrying I would die.
That's good.
So yeah, that was fun. I did the same thing in France. Whenever I go out and like get super dehydrated.
Fletch wanted me to correct you.
What?
Tour bus? You mean car?
I don't know. I wasn't trying
car?
I wasn't trying to misrepresent it. I was just like stream of consciousness talking. Yeah, we rented cars. I do recall.
Yeah. But
I remember driving that rental car into Florida on like 14 hours of no sleep, trying to get on the deadline, and like falling asleep at the wheel, thinking I was gonna die. It was like the scariest.
Sorry, I keep hitting the little thing
all
for this for the mic. Could you do it again? Could you go on a tour?
Yeah, I think I could. It'd probably be harder on my wife than it is on me, like coming home to an empty house for months at a time.
Yeah.
Honestly, in high school, my dream, when I was a kid, I thought I'd be a cartoonist. And then I thought I would do something. And then I thought I would do something else. And then in high school, I had a substitute teacher who was in an oi band, a punk band, that during summer break, when all the kids are out of school, he would be in the band full time on tour doing the band stuff. And then he would come home and sub when school was in session. And I was like, that sounds like a really good life plan. Like only half of the year having to really work. And he was pretty successful in it. It was a fairly in the underground music scene, a fairly well-known band. And it's not really my life plan now, but I think I could do it. Just be a complete drunk wreck all the time. No, I didn't really drink in the band, but I don't know. I think the reason people drink on tour is because it makes it bearable, just being like uncomfortable all the time. And you're also around strangers all the time, and there's really nothing to do, get sick of your phone at some point. Or your Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Advance at the time.
I was saying you have your DS.
I don't know.
I think I could enjoy it.
Sure.
Let's
go.
Again, like I said, I like traveling. So even if it is in a
not ideal situation.
Yeah, like if it was like a stuffy car, I don't, I remember the van that you guys had. That was
El Capitan.
That top bunk. I was always scared there was spiders up there.
Yeah, it was old. It had a carburetor, so that shows you how old it is.
Yeah, but no, I could do it. I would love to do something like that.
It's Adventure Time.
What?
Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Just check out, hit the road like Forrest Gump, make a line across a map like Indiana Jones.
And then just stop. You're like, I think I'm gonna go home now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you looking at your watch. Is it about that time?
Oh no, I was just my phone's going off, so I was just
Okay.
curious what it was. I mean, it's already past 11 o'clock.
I'm getting a little parched.
What time? So about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Dave's getting parched.
Someday we're gonna have really, really clearly defined topics to talk about.
Yeah, Fletch brought up that if he were single, he'd have no problem with it at all.
Yeah.
And
Maybe-
I think that's a tough part, you know. Like I
Yeah,
said,
exactly. You're doing it more to the other person.
significant others, children, stuff like that.
And they have to
and
take care of everything, like the bills and everything. when you're gone.
and I know that you know there are some celebrities that have said, "Oh, I wish." You know, they've either stopped touring, they're taking a step back because
Music is
I'm
definitely the hardest,
I'm trying to spend more time with my family, which is fine. Or you know, you have the Stevie Nicks, which I know is Ostbug's favorite.
Woo! I saw someone in a Stevie Nicks shirt yesterday.
And Ostbug loves Stevie Nicks, which he's probably not here again, but Stevie Nicks said that she would never have children because it was unfair.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, it's unfair to the children for me to not be there.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's probably real rough.
and yeah, I guess I know that there's a YouTuber that said something about, you know, somebody it was the YouTuber is Samurai Guitarist, and he does this what he calls honest unfiltered opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things was how would you say, you know, is it too late to become a musician or whatnot? And he pretty much said, if you have a mortgage, if you have a family, then you probably are going to be just like a hobbyist. It's not you won't be able to spend the time.
The time, and like you said, the mortgage, like you do have to pay for yourself on the road, so it's almost like having two mortgages. And if you're just starting out a band, you're not making any money, so you know you can only bleed money for so long until it's just not reasonable. Yeah. So that's another consideration. Yeah, I tend to be, I don't know, I'm very socially adventurous, but I don't like going out on limbs financially where it's like I could be homeless if this doesn't work out. That's something where I'm just kind of like,
come on, man, live your life a little.
I mean, I did it. You know, I lived life a little bit, but maybe someday I'll live again. Breathe again.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, you say you're parched, so I think that this would be a good point to stop.
My volume level is dropping as like.
Yeah, it's been about 2 hours. Yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by.
Yeah,
all the chat. We'll be back on next week. Hopefully this time.
I'll see on Steam in 15 minutes.
Hopefully this time Dave will actually have a topic to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if you're streaming yet, but I
might be streaming Age of Wonders Planetfall.
Yeah, you're on.
And all 8 people who love that game will be super excited.
You're on Twitch, Skunk Dave.
Yep.
Right, it's just Skunk Dave.
Yeah, and Robbi's on Twitch, WTF Robbi.
Yeah,
he plays Guitar Man.
Yeah, you can find me
Have
doing.
You played Guitar Man?
What, Guitar Hero Man?
Guitar Man. It's like it's like Parappa the Rapper.
No, I don't play that.
We should do a Guitar Man stream.
No, I usually find me playing bass guitar, Rocksmith, or soon World of Warcraft, because that's gonna swallow me up. I know it. But yeah, all right, everybody. Thank you.
Have fun.
Have a good night.